I'm not ashamed of it at all. I am so happy that I grew up poor. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you are new, don't be scared. I normally wear extensions, but today I'm giving you the black vibes, you know. We love our little cornrows, we love our braids. So if you are one of my, usual, you know how it goes on here. Sorry for shocking you, but it's all good. It may mean I'm poor, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. As you guys know, on this channel, sustainability matters, and we embrace imperfect sustainability. So I'm gonna leave you some tips on how you could be imperfectly sustainable. So I'm poor, and I grew up poor, and I am I'm so glad I grew up poor. Oh my God. Yeah, at the time I didn't really appreciate it very much, yeah. But I am so happy I grew up poor. And while I am still poor, I'm not ashamed. And I'll tell you the reasons why. So, you may ask, what exactly poor? What type of poor are you talking about? Because one could be poor in so many ways, and that's why sometimes when I see a lot of flexing and I look at people and they're like, ooh, I'm really doing it. What type of poor am I? So since we're focusing on me today, I really appreciate growing up poor. Many people used to try to make me feel ashamed of it, and still society tries to make me feel ashamed of the fact that I'm poor, that I live in a poor neighborhood, and that I live also in the rural area, and that the rural area is known for its high incidence of poverty, and I don't give a damn. I love it. Yeah. So, most sociologists, I did study some sociology. Most of them, they have this 3 or more types of poverty. And we are going to just barely touch on them today, just so that you have a sense of the reason why I tell you I'm poor. So, there's absolute poverty, where, as the word indicates, as it implies, as the word itself says to you, it's absolute poverty. I mean, you're down in the gutters. I mean, yeah, you can't eat. There's no shelter over your head. Your home may sometimes be the natural environment, which possibly might be a cave, which is actually pretty cool, except I hate bats. Or for some people in the Western world, in the first world, that they're absolutely proud to be, and which, by the way, was often gotten at the expense of the third world countries, by the way. Yeah, do your history. Yeah, a lot of their richness is from the exploitation of many other countries, that they're often still doing it today based on their policies that they do have in effect even today. Yeah, because of all the institutions that were set up based on, yeah. Okay, let's not get into that. I like to rant sometimes, but it's because sometimes people often fail to see the historical implications that is often evident in today's society. So, I am poor, I grew up poor, and yes, absolute poverty, probably not. Because if one has to define absolute poverty, I wouldn't say I never had any food. I had food. In fact, my dad, he had cows. He had livestock, which was often a sign of poverty back in the heyday. And the family itself, we were poor, but not absolute poverty in that sense. We live in a house that over the years had actually really, really deteriorated. Like, it got dilapidated to the point where sometimes the roof was leaking. And it's so interesting that once there was a hurricane that affected us at one point, and we were praying for dear life that nothing would happen. Nothing happened. Yeah. The Lord was on our side. Yeah. Anyway, so yes, so there's absolute poverty. And guys, this is not something to really joke about, because it's the reality of so many people. So many people, even in North American societies. Yeah, there is a third world in the first world of these countries. And yeah, we could scoff at them, we could ignore them, we could say whatever we like, that they're lazy, that they are, yeah, whatever your excuses or whatever your accusations are, it's not necessarily the truth. But as I said, I'm just touching the tip of the iceberg, and I'm not gonna go that deep. You'll have to go to university for that if they're open to telling you the full truth and nothing but the truth. So help you God. Yeah, if you believe in God, that is. But yeah, and then there's relative poverty. And that's the type of poverty where you're actually living amongst people and you see them really, they're surviving so much more than you. For you, you're living from paycheck to paycheck. Quite possibly you could put some food on your table, but you see the Joneses over there. You see those top tier content creators there flexing, and they are surviving to the fullest. They are hoarding generational wealth, and you are just barely making it because, one, you have maybe caregiver debts, or you have school debts, or you also have other debts that you have accumulated because of the fact that you are just trying to lift your head above the water, to try to really, get to maybe higher up the poverty scale, which is sad. Because some people, the more you climb, it's like you go from absolute poverty, then to relative, then sometimes you get to situational, which I'll get to just now, then sometimes you get to, guys, the poverty conditions, the ladder is real. When you think you are heading up there off that poverty ladder, you're just going from one stage to the next. Not many people jump from absolute or relative poverty to rich. The North American dream or the European dream, it doesn't happen to everybody. Yeah, you really have to drag your ass on the floor at times to try to. So for those that really made it, even though if it's at the expense of your values, who am I to judge you? You've experienced poverty, so you know what it's like down there. You don't want to stay down there. No. Who wants to stay down there? It's not fun. It's just that for me, I can't sleep great at night if my values are compromised. If what I value more, that if I see that you're actually not really paying your workers well, that you are so high, way off the poverty ladder, and you still having others under subjection because you want to make the Forbes list, you want to be the richest man in the world. Seriously? That's the competition now, and in a system like this, we think that's really cool. That's admirable to make it on the Forbes list of the most influential and the richest man in the world. Yeah. Yeah. At the expense of your careers and your factory workers. Yeah. But okay, we are supposed to get back to why I'm actually happy that I grew up poor. So the other, as I said, as I've mentioned before, the other types of poverty include situational, where all of a sudden you were doing okay. If, for example, let's say you had a partner, and of course, maybe because you just divorced, or maybe because there was, like what happened in my country, a hurricane, and so many people lost everything. There was a natural disaster, or there was a fire and you lost everything if you didn't have insurance. So any type of situation, maybe you invest in crypto and you just lost everything. You invest in some other sort of investment, those quick rich schemes, and you lost everything. It's situational. Oftentimes it's temporary, and you pray to God that you get out of it quickly, but these things happen. It's life, and you get into situational poverty. You just have to try to dig your way out. And I wish everyone that actually get their way out, because I know what it's like. It's hard. It's hard. I've been in all the types of poverties. Maybe not absolute, but the next type of poverty is generational poverty. And this is where it really, really gets annoying, because I see intergenerational wealth that is so common with the 1%, but yet for so many intergenerational poverty, it's such a thing. It's so rampant. It's the majority of poverty. As the word suggests, generationally, your family just gets stuck in a cycle of poverty where you don't see any way out, where you can't even send your kids to school to really help in the advancement of this family's situation. It's difficult. I'm living it, and it's really, really hard trying to get out of it, trying to carve a path way. It's just hard, and nobody could tell me I'm not trying. I am trying, but I know all the barriers I faced and I am facing, and unless like people really do something institutionally, it's not gonna change much, because education still needs to be more accessible. I'm still paying back student loans. I'm paying back a lot of loans that sometimes you have to like really go into debt just to look after your family members. And it really, really puts you in a generational grip of poverty that just keeps on in a circle that it seems like it never ends. And then of course there's rural poverty, rich. Yes. I'm telling you, I live in rural areas, and of course I am part of that population that is part of the rural poverty group. And of course I'm sure there's urban poverty as well, and I've also fallen into that category. I'm telling you, it's like poverty has my name on the list and it wouldn't let it go, but we are going to try to let it go. But here are the reasons. One of the reasons why I'm so proud I grew up poor is because it really gave me a hard shell. I mean by that, I could take blows. Unfortunately, I could take blows. Whatever blows you throw at me, like particularly in situational poverty, when you hit me and you thump me down to the ground, I could rise again, because I know what it's like to be down there. So I could bear the grinds down there. So because of that, I could rise again. I've acquired a tough shell. Resilience is what they call it these days. So many millionaires are discontented when they lose money. Many of them don't often have that willpower to keep on living, that resilience that really make you sturdy and mentally strong, and they don't have that. So oftentimes if they lose, let's say, $2 million out of all the billions they have, they are ready to crash because they don't want to lose. I read of this article of this millionaire that just ran in front of a train and self-deleted just because he lost some money. I've read of millionaires that wanted to just keep up with the public facade, and when he couldn't, he self-deleted. It's like, yeah, they don't have the know-how, which is sad. And that's why I often say to you as my viewers, it also ties into the fact that when you see all those items, those bags, the fabulosity of people living their best life, it's not a great comparison. So let's just forget FOMO and focus on what you currently have and the satisfaction. Focus on the fact that you as a poor person have developed a willpower where you're content, you're satisfied, you're not greedy, you could live the simple life, and you have developed that tough shell that you know you could survive the ups and downs, the situational poverty in your life. So guys, it's one of the things that I am so proud of. If I didn't grow up poor, I would not have been this resilient. Another reason why I'm glad that I grew up poor is because I could enjoy the simple things. I mean, I could eat noodles when I'm in any type of poverty, temporary or not. I could enjoy just a walk outside as fun. I don't need constant dopamine rush. I don't need that constant need for excitement. Oh, I'm good. I am good with myself too. Because when you're poor, people shun you in society. It's like you're the scum of that society. Nobody wants to hang out with you. So I know how to be alone and be fulfilled and satisfied with myself. Loneliness doesn't scare me. I enjoy those simple things. I could just eat whatever simple things is in my fridge. I could drink anything, maybe something that is stale, that you're not accustomed to, you're gonna go nuts because you go in the fridge and all of a sudden, yeah, you can't handle it. You can't deal with the simple life. It's not for you. Guys, honestly, you take on less stress. In these countries, especially with summer all year round, you have less psychological issues because listen, man, you could go down a pond, a deep hole by the river and have fun, swim, which I never got to do, but I watched. You could just bum a ride, ask for a ride and go to the beach and hang out. You could go to your neighbors. You could just pick an orange, although some of them are really not allowing you these days because times are hard, guys. It's really hard. You could get a free breadfruit, a free banana from your neighbors. That's why we live in the village areas, because we supported each other. You call it going to your neighbors for some salt. It's even sexy to go knock on your neighbor's door, especially if it's a hot guy or a hot girl, to ask for some salt. Oh, I just moved into the neighborhood. Do you have any salt? Do you have any salt? No, seriously. Do you want some sea salt? That's what I have. Yeah. But yeah, guys, seriously, we learn as people in one group, in one area, mostly rural, we learn to depend on each other. We are our firefighters. Yeah, neighbors would come and really, they rally behind you if your house is on fire because you have nobody else to depend on. Yeah, so when it comes to these types of poverties, like when you learn to live a simple life, it also makes you more content. Another reason why I'm so proud and so happy, you develop a more content disposition. You feel content with whatever you are blessed with under your given circumstances. Poverty for me really helps me in the sense that I'm not competitive. I'm not as greedy. I have great values. What type of poor are you?
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began